Focus is back on tracking the big story. 2611 mastermind Tahawwur Rana will remain in the NIA custody for 18 days. The NIA is now questioning and grilling Rana in detail in order to unravel the complete conspiracy behind the deadly 2008 attackers. Now, earlier NewsX had accessed the full NIA dossier against Rana and his accomplice, David Headley. It revealed that Rana was a childhood friend of Headley. Rana served a stint as a doctor in Pakistan Army and then moved to Canada later. He then started a consultancy firm called the First World Immigration Services in Chicago in the US. This company was used by Headley as a cover for executing assignments entrusted by the Lashkar-e-Taiba. Rana helped David Headley willfully provide wrong information for visa at the Indian consulate in Chicago and then also helped him to identify and surveil potential targets in Mumbai. In fact, Rana and Headley had exchanged over 231 telephone calls during Headley's 8 visits to India. It has been 17 years since the 2611 terror attacks and 15 years since Rana was arrested by the FBI on the US soil. This development is thus being touted as the biggest extradition in the recent times. Alright, sources suggest viewers the NIA has prepared a long list of questions that Rana will have to answer. Round 1 of questioning will be regarding Rana's full role in the 2611 attacks. As per the sources, the possible questions include: where was he located on 26th of November 2008? Why did he come to India between 8th of November 2008 and 21st of November 2008? And where all did he go during this time? Whom did he meet and where was he in India? Whom did he call during the attacks and since when did he know David Coleman? And why did he send him to India with a fake visa? Other parts of the question in the round 1 of questioning include: what all did David Headley tell him about the places he had visited in India? And what was David Coleman Headley's purpose for coming to India? What kind of conversation did he have with him during his stay in India? What was his Headley's role in the Mumbai attacks? And how did he help David Coleman Headley in getting an Indian visa? Other parts of the question in fact include: did Rana help him or Headley helped him on taking the attack strategy forward? What were the roles for both of them? And other questions. Now, joining me live on the broadcast is Yashovardhan Azad, who is a former CIC and IPS. Appreciate you joining me live this afternoon, sir. Thank you very much for speaking to us. Now, the NIA is focused to grill the, in fact, mastermind of the 2611 attack and terror attack, Rana. But at the same time, in fact, it is also being a very challenging part on the NIA to get the answers of all these questions 17 years later after the terror attack. How do you look at this extradition following NIA's effort to get the information and all the possible hidden truths behind hatching this conspiracy by Pakistan against the Indian soil?
Well, first I would say that most of the information about the attack, Mumbai attack, is already known to us. So basically, it's a kind of a confirmatory evidence which Tahawwur Rana would give. The most important part and what is appreciated is that we have got one of the accused, an important accused who was a co-plotter along with David Headley. As you already pointed out, as a doctor in the army before, who disappeared from there and landed in Canada, and then, of course, in States. And as a childhood friend of Headley, obviously he's a co-conspirator. It's difficult to believe how the US courts absolved him of his direct role in the Mumbai attacks. And also it is a little, strange that America can investigate the deaths of Americans abroad even. In that respect also, this man was, absolved. However, once he's here, the information which we actually need, because the operators on ground were all killed, and Headley, the main man who was wrecking and doing all that, that also we have been able to get. The question is that is he going to name some extra ones from apart from the ISI key men? Lakhvi has been identified, Samir, the others who have been there, Hafiz Saeed, the training of these terrorists in Dora Am and Dora Khas and things like that. All that is there. If he is going to name any other handlers, if he is going to give us any more information, that I guess will add to our case. It will certainly be a great kind of a closure for the 2611 victims. They've been suffering and they want this man to be hanged for the role of killing so many persons, 166. So all this, but one thing, of course, in the end, I would definitely say it's unfortunate that despite getting fresh evidence, despite his naming of the ISI accused and so many officers, it will be difficult to get those people back from Pakistan to stand trial in India.
As you are also pointing out to the difficulties that will be faced by the security agencies here in India, which they have been battling and facing for a long time, as 17 years have already been in fact passed during the pursuit of getting the extradition done, convincing the US. According to you and as per the experience, in fact, how do you look at the possible challenges that the Indian security agencies are going to face, given that nearly 2 decades have passed, there are many complications, then getting the information and also verifying that, and then also constituting a report is going to be one of the primary issues. But what apart from that is also going to constitute as the bigger challenge for the security agencies in this point of time?
Well, I think one of the challenges has already been overcome. That is to get this man extradited to India. Now, the second thing is, yes, you're right, it's 17 years too late. But after committing such a dastardly act where so many people are killed, that memory and that sentence will be etched in everyone's mind when he said that the Indians deserved it. And that they should, those guys, those terrorists, the murderers, should get Nishane-e-Haidar. So I suppose this man will remember everything about that particular plot, about the particular action, and I'm sure NIAs will be able to extract it. The real issue here is not the extraction. The real issue is not here about the extra knowledge or the extra information or the confirmatory evidence which the NIA will get. The real difficulty is, and that to get those murderers who are still in Pakistan, the handlers of those terrorists who came here, the conspirators, the plotters, the planners, right from Hafiz Saeed downwards to Lakhvi, to Samir, to all those majors and army officers who were there. That is the real problem. And I wish they could be extradited. That would be a major success.
Mr. Azad, as in fact we have been speaking to other security experts as well, which have had this apprehension that there is a sense of relief overall, because one of the biggest challenges, as you have also said, has been overcome. But another point which remains to be a very contentious one, that it has now become an international investigation. How would you like to respond in that regard?
Well, you see, I would say NIA has been already doing an excellent job in preparing detailed dossiers of, acts, terrorist acts committed on this soil and people who have escaped abroad. In fact, other areas also, whether it's the Khalistanis and other groups which have done. NIA has been preparing very good dossiers, and we have shared it in foreign capitals and with the embassies also. In this particular case, you see, as I already said, this is already an international case, right? Because there were so many foreigners involved in this. So, and in many of these, they had already been informed about the progress in the case and what has happened in this case. Yes, if Rana's interrogation brings out anything new, in the sense that there'll be new handlers whose names will come out, or there'll be new plotters, say from United States of America or from other countries, then of course it'll be a great addition to the information, and that will be greatly welcomed all over the countries, especially those whose nationals were killed in this. So, in that respect, I mean, we may await, and I think these 18 days period is a fairly good, sufficient time in which the NIA can extract this information. And yes, that will be a great advantage both to the trial and also to the countries whose nationals were killed.
Well, absolutely. In fact, I understand the kind of depth in which you are putting out the context of this matter is very important also from the purview of the investigation. While we are talking about the questioning, the round 2 of questioning will be related to the alleged links with the banned terror organization, while the LET and the possible, in fact, questions do pertain at how did he know LET chief Hafiz Saeed, when and where did he first met them, what was his relationship with Hafiz Saeed like, and how did he help the LET, what did they give him in return, is all of these in fact areas which are going to be explored. But when we come back to how entirely this investigation is going to help both India and the US in countering terrorism, how do you look forward to, in fact, this particular thought that this entire investigation, which will be at the helm of the NIA, in fact, complete coordination with other security agencies, is also going to bolster the India-US and anti-terrorism ties?
You see, a good question. In fact, India is in a strategic partnership with the United States of America. And definitely, one of the reasons why we have got Rana is because of our great friendship with the United States, as they have also, the Department of Justice has issued that statement. And it also said that India and US will fight the terrorism together. In fact, President Trump has also said this. The advantage with this is, it will be a kind of signal to the other countries too. There are many guys we want extradited from Canada. There are people who we want extradited from Great Britain, who are creating one, issue or the other, going to this court or going to the other court and trying to avoid that. So maybe it may inspire the other countries too, also to get into our same, net. And the way United States has cooperated, maybe it's time that the others also cooperate in the same manner, because terrorism is affecting, every country virtually today. And therefore, unless the nations cooperate, it's going to be a huge problem for any one particular country to deal with terrorist attacks, because terrorist attacks don't need any boundaries. They're happening across the world. In that respect, it's a very important signal to get Rana here, which may, kind of implore or motivate other countries also to give back the guys who we want extradited from these various countries.
Mr. Azad, in fact, thank you very much for being patient with us on the broadcast and also detailing your thoughts. Before I let you go, in fact, there is also important emphasis on the questioning that is related to his links to the ISI. The possible questions that pertain, in fact, to the concerns that who among Headley and Rana had connections with the Pakistani intelligence agency is the topic that is going to crop up even when, in fact, it is not related to the 26/11 Mumbai terror attack. The ISI possible connections are a subject that are always paramount to the security agencies, to the India-Pakistan, in fact, conflict, and also whenever the issue of Kashmir as well comes up. How are you looking forward to, in fact, the security agencies and their headache in procuring the information pertaining to this particular regard, and also the confidence that you have, in fact, with the security agencies to be able to extract this, given it is such a high profile case, everybody is looking at it now, international, in fact, attention has been particularly focused on this case as well?
See, that is a very, very crucial part of information that NIA would be trying to ferret it out of this man. You've already stated that this man was in the military, he served as a doctor. Now, it's, it's impossible to believe that he had no connection or he had no contact with the ISI, especially when this man disappeared and landed and became a Canadian citizen. And obviously, those contacts would be there. Then the second part is that this Headley, who's absolutely in touch with the, the terrorist agencies there, the LET or other groups. And when he was doing all the wrecking, plotting, every possible acts of terrorism, it is difficult that his childhood friend, who was preparing fake visas for him and who was letting him have the shield or the cover of being an officer of his agency, will not know all this, and he never came in contact. We also know about our nation's neighbors' activities and their embassies of their how they are operating abroad, whether it's in Nepal, whether it's in US, whether it's in England. So for Mr. Tahawwur Rana not to know any of these guys and not to have contacts is really so improbable. And that is a very, very important part of the investigation. And I'm sure NIA in this period will be able to take out. In fact, I think that will be a top information they'll be looking for so that they can tie up all the threads together in this investigation.
Well, all right, Mr. Yashovardhan Azad, thank you very much for being with us and patiently answering all the questions pertaining to the subject at this point of time. Appreciate you always having on the broadcast. And now viewers, in fact, with more news and updates on the other side, stay tuned.